Hey y'all, welcome to Art of the Budget. My name is Nicole. My pronouns are she and her, and I live in the Pacific Northwest on the traditional unceded territory of the Coast Salish Nations. And today we are doing a budget, not a budget check-in, although I will be recording one of those today. Today we are doing a 2021 financial goal check-in. So we're at about the 6-month mark. We're getting close, and I'm going to see how I'm doing and share that with all of you. A couple of things. I'm not sure if the mic is going to pick up the fan that's running, but I live in the Pacific Northwest. We are having a hot day. We're supposed to have a record heat tomorrow and Sunday, and so I've got the shades drawn, the fan going. Hopefully that's not creating too much background noise, but if it is, sorry. Let me know down below if you've got any goals that you have just crushed this year, or let me know if you've got any goals that you are moving up to priority for the second 6 months of the year. And also, I'm excited to report that, I'm doing okay on some of my goals and maybe not as good on others, but just a reminder that life is hard, it's complicated, and like we got to celebrate the wins, but we, don't want to beat ourselves up over things that didn't go as we planned, because that's life. Okay, so my goal is to increase investments, not increase, to add about $14,000 to my investments this year. I am on track. My Roth IRA is automated. I do $500 a month, which just like, I feel like I've mentioned this before, but it just feels wild to me that I just have $500 that I just don't even see. Like, if you would have told me that 5 years ago, I would not have believed you. It was hard for me to even start putting $150 a month into this Roth. Okay, so anyway, that's on track. That's automated. Also automated is my 457B contribution. So in addition to my pension that my work does that I have no control over, I also can do a 457B, and I also could do a 403B, but I don't choose to. I like the 457B because it has a little more flexibility in that you can access that money without penalty when you separate from service versus when you're of retirement age, but it's still it is still tax advantaged, a tax advantaged retirement account. So I think that's pretty cool. My plan was to put $3,000 in. I was doing $125 per paycheck. But y'all, I just upped my contributions. I'm putting $200 per paycheck. So that should get me, I think, to like $3,900. So almost $4,000. So I'm hoping that means I will crush this $14,000 goal, but we will see. Another year of PERS, which is my pension, that is on track. So on track, just increased my contributions and on track. Love that. I also just did the little like millionaire contribution or the millionaire calculator on Bankrate. And I just used some simple numbers. I use like 2.9 for inflation, and I use 7% returns, I think. And at the amount that I'm contributing right now, I am on track to become a millionaire at age 63. Don't read too much into that. I don't really understand the nitty gritty of all that, how it works like after inflation. But anyway, I've just been using that as a measure. Obviously, I'm not going to be retiring with multi-millions of dollars, and that just is not something that my income and just also my lifestyle up until this point could support, as cool as obviously that would be. But anyway, I am just happy to report that I'm on track to become a millionaire. I'm going to put quotation marks around that at age 63. When I first started this and I first watched like a One Big Happy Life video about using the Bankrate millionaire calculator, I was on track to be a millionaire at age 78. So, it feels pretty good to be ahead of the game. Okay, so another year of public service loan forgiveness, that is on track with the added bonus of that has been in forbearance, and therefore I'm getting credit for those payments, but I actually am paying zero. So that is great, very, very helpful. My third goal is to share. So that was number 1. Number 2, number 3 is to share 7% of my income. I think I'm on track to do that, and you know, maybe I'll get a little closer to 10 this year. I don't know. I would say that I am on track to definitely hit that 7%. And so that's basically 5% straight up sharing with organizations and people, small organizations and individual people that are either doing cool things I support or who I just want to share my income with. And then 2% going to independent artists or other creative endeavors. Okay, number 4, to be more mindful and intentional about my budget, especially grocery, restaurant, and fun budget. Challenge myself to different meal prep styles, consider my needs and adjust the budget to accommodate them. Okay, I'm doing well. I incorporated my meat and vegetable shares, my CSA, and I got an eighth of a cow into my grocery budget for the year instead of adding them on top like I did the year before, just because I wasn't as organized. I didn't have that savviness with my budget. So that's pretty cool. I mean, that is about $1,000, you know, that would have been on top of my budget, which I do $300 a month, about $3,600 a year. And of course, I always say, like, if I have to go over, I will go over, but I've been doing a pretty good job of adjusting it as I go. And so on track there. I love it. What else? Tracking. Oh, and I've been tracking my savings goals. So I've been actually tracking, like, this was my goal for the year using my yearly spreadsheet, and then looking at the 6-month mark or whatever, where am I? And I'm ahead in some areas. So that's been pretty cool due to just things like, you know, extra income here and there, as well as stimulus, etc. All right, so number 5, YouTube. Continue to post 1 to 3 times weekly. On track, doing it. Reach 1,000 subscribers. That is hard, and I've actually heard a lot of YouTubers, even bigger YouTubers, say this, like, you can't control if someone wants to subscribe. And I kind of think that, like, who I'm reaching out to, a lot of those folks, like, in some areas, so appreciative of everyone watching, but then I feel like in certain areas, it's just maybe not a group of people that, like, have YouTube accounts. And so, yeah, it's been hard to make it, it's been hard to increase my subscribers, and that is okay, because I'm just doing my thing. It's not necessarily mass appeal, and that is okay. And then I had said a stretch goal would be to monetize. Hey, you know, it could still happen. I would love to monetize this channel at some point, but I am not gonna worry too much if that doesn't happen, because I'm really just doing this to be in community with folks, to keep myself accountable, and obviously to share info if it's helpful for other people. All right, scooching right along to number 6. This is my ceramics business. I had a few goals underneath: streamline, pusher downers, and Gugliotti series. I'm really doing well with the pusher downers. The Gugliotti series is kind of on hold right now. That is just like a series of plates and accoutrement for Italian food, and I would like to get back into it, but make money each month from this stream of income. I've been doing really well. I guess I didn't actually do that well in June, but I think I'm gonna continue on doing pretty well, and I'm gonna keep trying. But I have done pretty good making money every month until June. Okay, save $1,500 cushion in my business account. I'm almost there. I have like $1,200. So I would probably like maybe $800 more to actually have it be cushion versus, you know, so I have a couple months of operating expenses. Obviously, my operating expenses are extremely low because I operate out of my home. And my stretch goal is to save $3,000 in my business account and start paying myself. So I'm on track for some of that, and I think I could get there. I think I could get to that stretch goal. It's within the realm of possibility at this moment. All right, design and order custom tape, done. Design and order thank you for shopping, no new waste stamp, done. Teach a workshop. I have really struggled to get back into the groove of things. I used to be so busy. Maybe I'll put the triple side gig video up in here. And I just have really struggled to get back to that level of productivity. And I don't know if I want to, but I would like to teach a workshop. I just have not turned my focus to that. So I haven't done it. Do a residency, same thing. But I am going to go visit my folks and do some camping. And so maybe I'm doing that stuff instead of a residency. And then H, in my list, stretch goal was to have a space, and that's going to be a probably not. It just doesn't make fiscal sense. Even if I could meet all the above goals, it would just be too much of a drain when I can run my business with such low overhead. So I think maybe I would like to do that for a year at like sort of peak productivity for like at least a year before I revisit getting a space. All right, getting into physical and mental health, moving beyond survival, joyful movement, working on it. Really, it has been hard, but working on it. Continue therapy. I'm on track. I've added coaching, as I've talked about. Continue using and opening and closing duties. Those are inspired by domestic blisters on TikTok. Yeah, I've been using them. I don't always use them, but I've been using them on and off since I discovered them, and they are really helpful. Invest in relationships. I am trying, doing my best here. It's hard. Yeah, number 8, and the last one, continue to work on side projects that are meaningful. Be an intentional and kind teacher. I would say that I'm on track with that. I learned a lot from online teaching this quarter and last quarter. I'm realizing that in person, I am more likely to get kind of overwhelmed by, the needs of everyone. And I think working online and having that separation with my students really allowed me in a way to be more present with them. And I learned a lot from that. So I'm going to try to incorporate a lot of what I learned into future quarters that may be more in person. And then continue to build skill in medicing. I have not done that. Once I was teaching again, it just became like one too many things. And so I have not been able to build skill in that area, but I really hope I still can. So maybe I'll look for opportunities in the next 6 months. Okay, so yeah, overall, I would say I'm doing pretty good on my financial goals. This is one thing that I've been thinking about though. A lot of these things, well, they really weren't financial. And they were the harder things. That physical and mental health, that is really hard, especially in this. It's hard in general under capitalism, and it's hard in this weird version that we're living in where I personally have still felt really overwhelmed and stressed by being in a pandemic. So I'm glad that I made those goals. I'm glad that I can kind of double down on them in the next 6 months. I'm glad I'm doing this check-in. Something that I want to think about though moving forward is regarding my financial goals. I've really got those locked in. I'm probably gonna have a little of an adjustment period as my increased amount starts coming out of my paycheck. Of course, it's pre-tax, so I won't feel it as much, but we'll sort of see where that levels out. Of course, we're also going into the lean months of summer where I'm not adjuncting on top of my full-time job. So stuff to think about. But aside from that slight adjustment, things are very dialed in. They're very automated. Everything is happening and I'm barely feeling it. And so I think that I'm of kind of two minds. On the one hand, I don't make a large income, and so I'm not trying to torture myself, I guess. So I'm always trying to remember, I'm not trying to be a pauper. I'm not trying to torture myself. But maybe in some areas, without too much discomfort to myself, I can stretch a little and I can push a little. And so, of course, adding to my 457B, increasing that contribution is a good example. And maybe I can look for opportunities to do a little bit more stuff like that. As I mentioned before, I've been comparing my my spreadsheet for the year to my projection to my actual spreadsheet. And I've done some things. So like in my projection, I was only supposed to have maybe $400 towards my down payment goal, and I have over 1,000. So like that would be a good example of what I want to do a little more of when it's possible. Yeah, and again, as I'm moving into this more productive post-pandemic life, I want to, yeah, there's this duality, right? I want to maintain some of the softness and kindness. And I also want to, I mean, I did a lot of things before, maybe too many things, but they were all really things I loved and cared about. So keeping that balance. So maybe doing a few more things, teaching some workshops, doing things that I can then apply to my financial goals and also to my, studio practice and physical and mental health goals, but then keep a little bit of that time to myself in that space that I've gotten during the pandemic, if that makes sense. Let me know down below, like I said, a goal you've really crushed or something that you're working towards. Again, let's all give ourselves grace. We are still surviving a pandemic, no matter how much things are going back to normal. And you know what? I think the pandemic made us realize that we have all been surviving capitalism, and we don't have to go back to full productivity. We actually never have to go back to that. So yeah, that's it for me. I hope you all are having a great week, and I will see you in the next video.